Today I've got a hat on because my hair's a mess. I'm not usually the type to care, but I don't want to look like an absolute meth on these videos. Anyway, today's video, we've got some really big news in the world of mixed martial arts and strongman. As some of you might know from the videos we've done on this channel, Brian Shaw is doing a bit of MMA training now. He's been doing it for a while, and we've also seen Eddie Hall do a bit of MMA training with Tom Aspinall. You see here just above my head, 400-pound strongman, Brian Shaw training for MMA. We know he has officially signed a contract to fight, and the plot has just thickened. Eddie Hall put this up 2 days ago. Today I signed a contract to fight MMA February 17th, 4-man eliminator against Brian Shaw, Martin Ford and Mitchell Hooper, and the organisation they're going to be fighting under is Finishers Championship. Training has begun and I'm loving the challenge this has brought to the table. Very interesting. Eddie's actually posted some footage to go with this, which we'll take a look at in a minute. First, let's take a look at the men involved in this 4-man tournament. We've got Eddie Hall. We all know who Brian Shaw is. And then we've got Martin Ford. You might have seen this guy. He's about 6'7". He's been training MMA for a while. He was meant to have a fight set up with that Iranian Hulk. Remember this guy? This dude here, the one who photoshops all his images, looks absolutely massive. And then when they went face to face, that Iranian Hulk absolutely flapped it. This is what the Iranian Hulk looks like on his Instagram. Okay, 100% real and legit. What an absolute tank he is. Well, Martin Ford was meant to fight this geezer almost 2 years ago, and when he's shown up to the face-off, this was in Dubai, this is what the Iranian Hulk looked like. So pay attention to the guy on the right and just try and imagine this is what we're meant to be seeing in real life. Martin Ford on the left. Look at him with his fake lat syndrome. Watch him crumble now. Goes flying.
A big push.
Oh yeah, here we go. Yeah, this is hilarious. Now look at him. Now I'm not one to talk about body language. I think people look into it too much. But this guy is clearly shook here. Doesn't want to look at Martin Ford. He's clearly scared. Now watch this. When he finally looks at him. This is embarrassing. Whoa. Absolutely pathetic. Let's start again. Martin Ford barely moves. And he gets thrown down to the ground. Hey, look at that big fat waist as well. Thought we were meant to be seeing this 28-inch waist and 60-inch chest. If anything, you could probably invert those measurements and that'll be more realistic. Anyway, Martin Ford has been training MMA for quite a while now. We know Eddie Hall's got some boxing experience. We know Brian Shaw's been training MMA for a little bit, like the last 3 or 4 months. And then we've got Mitchell Hooper, who is completely brand new to this. I'll show you his Instagram. He hasn't really got anything fight-related on here, so it's completely brand new. He released a video 4 weeks ago announcing that he's going to be fighting Eddie Hall, and here's what he said.
I've always said I'm an athlete as much as I am a strongman. I just happen to be really good at strongman. On January 17th at Lusail Stadium in Qatar, I'm going to be part of an MMA tournament. This is going to be a tournament where I fight Eddie, Brian fights Martin Ford, and then the winner, same night, fights each other.
This guy's fighting Eddie Hall. Brian Shaw's fighting Martin Ford. This is going to be interesting.
But this tournament is really just a new foray into a different sport, a different way to challenge yourself. It's something where I'm going to have to pick it up extremely quickly. Full disclosure, I've never fought before. So you guys are going to have a lot of content of me trying to learn what to do from ground zero.
And let's remind ourselves, this is meant to happen on February the 14th. How long away is that? About 16 weeks. And he's not just doing boxing. If it was a boxing fight, that'd be hard enough, but we're talking about MMA here, where you've got to learn grappling, you've got to learn submissions, you've got to learn submission defense, takedowns, takedown defense, the art of striking, kicking, knees, elbows. You have to learn everything. When you've got someone who's never fought before and someone who is going to be extremely unathletic in a fighting sense, like this guy, obviously because he's a strong man, he's not used to moving like a fighter. A year isn't even enough, so it can seem like this guy's just doing it for the payday, because the pay is pretty good.
Is that strongman has come really, really easy to me, and frankly, I'm not sure this stuff is. So I'm going to have to work my ass off over the next little while to be able to compete. So it's going to be the biggest payout for athletes in history. They want to beat the Pacquiao-Mayweather fight, and they've got 4 of us. They've got 4 celebrities. They've got 12 professional MMA who are all going to be in their own separate tournaments on the same evening. It's going to be action-packed. I watched Eddie and Thor's fight. I think that's probably not his best attempt at fighting. I think he's much more capable than that. And really, in one like this, it's basically if you get tagged by anyone of our size and our strength, you're probably going to be done. My plan is that I'm going to fight at Lusail Stadium February 17th. I'm going to prep to be in the Arnold, UK, and to be in World's Strongest Man. Now, whether I'll be at 100% capacity for those shows is yet to be determined. But I know that when I go into the fight, one of my big goals is going to be strong and to be really well conditioned.
Now, we got a few dislikes here, nothing too crazy, but I assume it's because he's still got a lot of potential in strongman, and people think that he's just doing this for the payday, which is obvious. Someone said, man, I want you to succeed in everything you do, but this feels like a huge detour to take when you're at the peak of your career. And I don't mean to be critical here, I don't mean to be negative, but Eddie Hall is going to destroy this guy because Eddie's got more fighting experience. Eddie is going to finish this Mitchell Hooper before the end of the first round. I actually think what we're going to see with this Mitchell lad is as soon as he gets hit, the feeling of being hit with full force is going to be that foreign to him that he's going to be one of these who curls up in a ball and turns away from the punches. So I just don't see this fight going great, to be honest. After the first fight, it's most likely going to be Eddie Hall versus either Brian Shaw or Martin Ford. These are actually going to be very interesting fights because Eddie is looking pretty decent. Check him out. He's already got pretty decent boxing skills, doing a bit of grappling there, getting out of that full mount. Nice left hook by Eddie. Nice, good rear naked choke defense. Very interesting. Martin Ford posted anything. Gotta mute this for copyright purposes, but let's see if there's any fighting footage. Just some basic punches. Okay, that's pretty much it. But Martin Ford moves well for a big guy. Now let me show you something very interesting which doesn't make sense. This is the Finishers Championship Instagram. It's barely got any followers, considering that you've got people like Eddie Hall sharing it and tagging it in, and barely any content on here, especially considering the first post was on the 15th of October and it's only got 60 likes. Even someone here has said, WTF is going on with this Instagram, crazy prize money and the people competing, but the Instagram is empty and not promoted. And in this video they say some weird things. It's like a 5-minute video, so I'm not going to make us watch it all. I just want to show you this interesting part, what they speak about at the end.
The 4 guys in the GCC opening the show. Then we've also got like a halftime Super Bowl show event.
So this is the bit in question. I don't know if it's like a miscommunication, I don't know if it's a red flag or straight up lies or just overconfidence, but listen to what this guy says.
What crowd can we expect on the night?
What crowd can we expect on the night?
We're expecting a full house, 90,000.
90,000 in attendance. To put that into perspective, the highest UFC attendance was 57,000 people at UFC 243, Robert Whittaker versus Adesanya. So the fact that this promotion is expecting 90,000 in attendance, and once again, you have to take a look at their Instagram. There's nothing on there. They've got 1,100 followers. I know that really shouldn't mean much, but you have to look at these days social media footprint and impressions as a way of predicting how well an event is going to do. And then he says this.
Plus at the Lusail Stadium, we're expecting 50 million pay-per-views.
He says, we're expecting 50 million pay-per-views. What does he mean by that? Does he mean they're expecting to pull in $50 million? Or they're expecting 50 million pay-per-view buys? It does not make sense what he's on about, because here are the records for the highest pay-per-view buys. You've got Pacquiao and Mayweather at the top with 4.6 million. After that, Mayweather and McGregor, 4.3 million. Then it's a big drop-off. Khabib and McGregor to 2.4 million. So even if he misspoke and he meant 5 million pay-per-view buys and not 50 million pay-per-view buys, are we really going to see a bunch of strongmen and a few professional MMA fighters who aren't super famous do those kinds of numbers? It seems like they don't really know what they're talking about. Once again, is this an example of the Middle East just throwing a bunch of money at an event, being over ambitious with it when it's not going to do that well? Look at the Tyson Fury and Ngannou fight. People uploaded videos of the event itself, not the pay-per-view, but them sitting there at the stadium in the event, and it was dead. There was no atmosphere. This oil money and this Middle Eastern money can't buy character and atmosphere. Let's see what else he says.
We're also expecting about 1.35 billion social media followers.
He said we're expecting 1.35 billion social media followers. I had to rewind this a few times just to make sure I was hearing correctly.
We're also expecting about 1.35 billion social media followers.
He said He said, what would expect a 1.35 billion social media followers, but you're not off to a good start. 1,100, 60 likes on a post. The ones with Eddie Hall in, I've got a little bit more. We got 190 likes here. We got 300 likes here. But it's not looking too great in the latest post. 19 likes. You best get a hurry on because you've only got half of November, December and January to get over 1 billion followers on social media. I was trying to think, did they mean something else when they were saying this? Am I misinterpreting what they're saying? Is the answer right in front of me and I'm just a little bit blind right now because I'm dieting and I'm lacking calories to think clearly? Comment down below if I'm missing something here, lads.
It's going to be a huge event. Main thing is it's going to be a packed house. So make sure you run out and get those tickets soon before they sell out.
And there you go. So I've got to say, I'm looking forward to this event. I've seen rumours of Mariusz Pudzianowski competing as well. Obviously, he's been competing in MMA for years now. But regardless, whoever fights, it doesn't matter because these strong men, it's a decent spectacle to behold. You've got the strongest men in the world fighting each other, and it does create for interesting matchups. I'm just a little bit confused about the event and the optics around the event. The CEOs and the organisers and promoters are talking about here 50 million pay-per-view buys. That doesn't make sense. We also spoke about how they're going to do like a Super Bowl halftime show halfway through the event. They're going to have live performances on. So it's going to be a copy and paste of the Tyson Fury and Ngannou fight. All spectacle. You're going to be sitting there for 3 hours waiting for fights to start. It's going to be all glitz and glamour, but all you're going to have is a bunch of Arabs who aren't really fight fans in the audience because it's haram, correct me if I'm wrong, who aren't truly invested in the fights. Just like the Fury and Ngannou event. Saudi Arabia, Qatar, yet they're dumping loads of money into these events, but is it enough? This right here is just going to be another failed promotion. The fights themselves should be exciting though. What do you guys think of this? Comment below what you think of the actual fights and matchups themselves. Who do you think's going to win the 4-man tournament? I think Eddie Hall's looking pretty good. I'm looking forward to documenting this fight build-up. Remember, we're on a quest to 100,000 subscribers, so if you watch my content on a regular basis, then drop me a subscribe with those notifications on. Like this video, and make sure you tune in tomorrow because we upload every single day. Okay, appreciate you all. See you tomorrow.